It's dark, it's dark, it's dark. Well, good morning. It's an early one today. It is Saturday the 9th. I think it's the 9th of November. Today is the day of the Dunnerdale fell race. However, I'm not doing it. Initially, the initial plan was to actually do the race, but I woke up this morning around about 3:30 and I was like, I just couldn't get back to sleep, I should say. And I was lying in bed thinking, do I want to do the Dunnerdale? It's a short race, category AS. It's 8 kilometers, which is around about 5 miles. The elevation's about 500 meters, I think. It's a great classic short race, but I was just lying in bed and I was like, am I in the mood for a short race? I'm in the mood for something a bit longer and a bit more gnarly, if I'm totally honest. The Crag's down, the weather's not the weather's much the same as it was in the last video. Yeah, and I'm like lying in bed thinking, you know what, I'm just going to get up and go for a run. I've only had about 3 hours sleep, but I'm wired on caffeine and creatine, so yeah, I'm good to go. And I thought, you know what, I get a nice early start. I can get to Langdale nice and early. I can avoid all the Saturday traffic. Yeah. So that's what we're doing today. I've decided I'm going to do something a little longer than 5 miles. The plan today is we're going to head over to Langdale. I'm going to park up in Old Dungeon Gill. Then I'm going to head up to High Raise via Sergeant Man. And then I got this, so one of you guys, NB Stevens 78, you mentioned on my last video in the comments section that a good line is dropping off High Raise down into Langstrath Valley and then up Glaramara. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that line today. You sowed the seed, mate. I'm like, oh, that sounds like a really good line. I have dropped off High Raise quite often and just off the side there, but I've never bazzed it up the side. Well, I have. I've gone up Glaramara via South Crag. What's going on here? Yeah, I've headed up Glaramara via South Crag, which is a really good grade 1 scramble, I think it is. But I'm going to head up via South Crag, and I'll tell you what the route's going to be today, because I planned it out this morning as I was eating my porridge. I planned it out on my OS Maps app on my computer, and then I uploaded it onto the phone. And then, of course, I've transferred it onto my watch. I'm running using my watch today as well, because the Crag's going to be down. It might just give me that little extra edge. So we're parking in Old Dungeon Gill, heading up to Sergeant Man, skirting round Stickletarn. Then we're heading up to High Raise. Then I'm just going to drop straight off the side of High Raise down into Langstrath Valley. Langstrath, I think I'm getting that right. And then hoof it up the other side of Glaramara via South Crag. I think it's South Crag. And then from Glaramara, we're going to head back the other direction than what we did in the last video, heading to Eskhors, the Cardinal Shelter. And then from Eskhors, the Cardinal Shelter at Eskhors, heading underneath, we're going to traverse underneath Esk Pike. It's the same line you take when you're doing the Langdale fell race. It's absolutely honking, if I'm totally honest. It's not a nice traverse, but you know, it's I don't particularly want to go up to Esk Pike, and it's the quickest way to get to Bow Fell. So we're going to traverse going to traverse underneath Esk Pike, head up to Bow Fell, and then from Bow Fell we're going to jump onto, or do a little bit more of the Scafell Sky Race route, and we're going to come off Bowfell via the Great Slab and then use the Climbers Traverse to get onto the band, and then we're going to bomb it down the band. So am I going to put a thumbnail on Scafell Sky Race Recce? Probably not for this one, if I'm totally honest, because it's a very small portion of today's run. But like I mentioned in the last video, I do enjoy coming off Bowfell or getting up to Bowfell via the slab, and that's what we're going to do today. The weather is claggy, much like it was in the last video. So it's going to be quite precipitous. The rock's going to be wet. It's going to be slimy. Yeah, it's going to be great. That's what we're doing. So I'm just going to, we shouldn't be too much longer now. And yeah, I'll speak to you later. Is that noisy? Can you hear that? Yeah, try not to. I hope it doesn't pick up the mic too much. That noise. I hope that noise isn't too annoying. Oh well, what a run that was. That was really good. That worked out at 12 miles and 5,000, just over 5,000 feet of elevation. Didn't do what initially I set out to do. So the one bit we didn't do was when I got to Eskhors, the Cardinal shelter, I decided not to go up to Bowfell. I had actually rolled my ankle on Glaramara. It wasn't massively bad. Well, it isn't bad, but it's just like, ugh. And I'd done enough elevation at that point, and it was coming on to 7 miles also, and I thought, yeah, I think by the time I finally get back to Dungeon Gill, it's going to be at least a 10 to 11 mile run. I was like, yeah, that's good enough for me. So I decided not to do Bowfell and the Great Slab. I'll save that for another day when the Clag's not down. I wouldn't have seen much anyway, and Bowfell is notoriously wet. When it's wet, the rock up there is just so slippery. Yeah, I was like, I can't be bothered with it. So, plus I'd rolled my ankle, so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to sack that off today, do it another time. But the one thing that I did do today, which I really enjoyed, which I got off one of you guys, NB Stevens 98. I did mention this earlier, didn't I? But I don't know your name, mate. But yeah, when you dropped me a message on the last video in the comments section and said, take a straight line off High Rise straight up to Glaramara. Yeah, that's what I did. It was a lot of fun. Full-on fell running, that is. It was the ascent up the side of Glaramara was brutal. Yeah, I do like those brutal ascents. The other thing, of course, is I haven't done a great deal of strength training in the gym on my legs for well over a month now, almost probably 2 months. I've just not bothered doing any leg work in the gym. I've been doing my strength workouts up here in the fells, basically, and it's worked out really well for me. At the moment, I'm averaging 2 good runs a week, just because of work and life commitments and stuff like that. So I've got to make those 2 runs count. So I'm basically up on the fells all the time, and so that's where I'm doing my strength work, is, you know, getting myself up the side of a hill. And today was brilliant for that. It was just getting up the side of Glaramara. It was just emotional. And it was really good burn in the glutes. So yeah, that was a good, well recommended, mate. Thanks for that. I have actually dropped off the side of High Raise, and I was looking across to South Crag and Woof Stones. There's the hidden bothy in Woof Stones, of course. The not so secret bothy, so to speak. It's initially I think it was built by a bunch of climbers back in the 80s, and it was outed, so to speak, about 10 years ago during some sort of, I think this is right, it was outed during a magazine article in a walking magazine, and as soon as that article came out, people started looking for it, and now unfortunately it's in a state of disrepair. You can use it if you can find it, but the door's been ripped off it, unfortunately, and the only way of sealing up the entrance is by blocking it up with stones. And people aren't really respecting it. Well, I haven't been there for ages, so I don't know what state it is in at the moment. I did toy with the idea of heading over there today and checking it out, and then getting up Glaramara via South Crag, but I thought, no, I'm going to do what I initially set out and straight line it from High Raise over to Glaramara as straight as I could. Yeah, and I'll be interested to see what the Strava trace looks like. how straight I managed to get that line. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And of course, then I rolled my ankle on the top of Glaramara, and then when I got to S-Cores, I was like, I'm going to sack it off, wrap on Bowfell and head back to the car. But then when I was coming off Rossett Pike, I didn't use the main path, I just came down the gill. I can't remember what the gill's called now. That's a nice descent off there. I can't remember what that pass is now, but rather than using the path with zigzags, just get in the gill and just go down the gill. It's a lot easier. Yeah, anyway, I'm rambling. Yeah, I'm a bit spaced out if I'm totally honest with you. So I won't be putting a thumbnail up. Scafell Sky Race Recce, part 2. I didn't do any part of it really. No, I didn't do any part of it at all. No, I don't think I did. So yeah, that won't be happening. Today was just a fell run, just another fell run. That's it, training run. That's what I'll put it up as. Yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe you get a little bit of inspiration from it to do some crazy descents in a sense. And yeah, NB Stephen 98, whatever your name is, mate, thanks again for that recommend. That was a good, you sowed a seed when you told me that. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do what? I'm going to do that. I fancy doing that today. So thanks again, mate. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and yeah, until the next video.